Good evening to all of you, including our distinguished speaker for today, Niraj Kumar. To all the wonderful participants, special welcome also to Satish Shenoy. Today's session is on data analytics, winning formula for internal auditors. That will be delivered by Niraj Kumar, who's the Group Chief Internal Auditor and Risk and Forensic Head of Oyo Hotels and Homes. Today, I would not like to talk about Sama. I would just formally introduce Niraj and then ask him to share with us his experiences on analytics. Being a career internal auditor, I look forward to his session today. Formally introducing him, he is a chartered accountant having more than 20 years of experience in risk management, internal auditing and assurance, fraud management, revenue assurance, business process designing, internal controls, governance, and SOX. Currently, he is the group head of internal audit of one of the world's largest technology-based hospitality company, Oyo Hotels and Homes, managing 80 plus countries globally. Of course, no doubt at all, because you just go in your car, you will see Oyo. You cannot miss it, So overall, Niraj's experience is good blend of corporate consulting and startup world, which has helped him excel his knowledge and expertise in the field of auditing. Before joining Oyo, Niraj was working as executive director with KPMG Risk Consulting vertical, and he's also worked with some of the marquee companies in India. So he was head of internal audit for Carrefour India, French retail company, worked with Walmart India, Max India, and Reliance Retail. And he's joined Oyo 3 years back, and he set up and expanded the risk function from scratch while matching the pace of the organization, because of course the organization is going very fast. To have efficient and cost-effective audit and risk function matching growth trajectory of the company, he embraced technology and data analytics as an important element of audit ecosystem in Oyo, and that's why we have Niraj to share with us. And of course, he believes in sharing knowledge with his peers and young upcoming professionals, and he's of course spoken at a number of seminars and conferences, ICA, IIA, FICCI, and he's also a regular speaker at various management schools. So I think with that, Niraj, today I said we should talk less about Sama and more about you. So over to you, please. And at the end, I have requested, we spoke just some time back, so I have requested Satish to please conclude this session after you have spoken, give us 5 minutes knowledge and also thank you for being with us. So over to you, Niraj.
Thank you, Dipji, for detailed introduction. And I must compliment you for the work you are doing, creating awareness amongst the internal audit fraternity about the data analytics, which is eventually going to help all of us, who are attending it. That is what the need of an hour. So commendable job, and I really thank you from bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Satish being one of the first boss, so always learning from him, and it is good that I am sharing this with him here. Look forward to have a conversation at the end. Let me share my file. So many things here. I like the the terminology which we put up here, data analytics winning formula for internal audit. So I was thinking for some time how I can define and how it is linked with the internal auditor, and what is the probably the winning line for that. So winning formula for internal audit, awesome thing. I mean, great word, and I think we all can relate it. So how I have structured my presentation, I will have why we need data analytics. So I'll talk a couple of minutes about that. What triggered for me, why I started using a lot of DA. How internal audit, how it is an advantage for internal audit, and how you can transform your audit function with the help of data analytics in a process, how you can become more from an assurance provider to a business partner as well, challenges and lesson learned. And at the end of the presentation, I would be talking about practical thing, few examples, the way we have used data analytics in our current and past organizations, followed by a Q&A session. I am still learning, and there is a lot to learn from these sessions. And more you get into data analytics and technology, it's getting deeper and deeper. Small story. When I was with consulting, I used to, I was using data analytics for a captive consumption. Means uh, for bringing efficiency, looking good, in terms of giving more insight to the business, using data analytics, probably more as, sort of uh, compliance in terms, okay, I should have better insight, more data, uh, more meaningful things. So by that time, if you look at probably my the heading, technologies and is technology is internal auditor, sorry, internal audit for future. So I used to think that it's a internal audit for future when I was part of consulting. 3 years back, I realized no, it is internal audit of present, right? It is need of an hour, and you cannot live without data analytics and use of technology if you really want to be effective and efficient in your work. Story started when I joined OYO 3 years back. One day I was told to start 20 audits and I had only one person in my team. I thought how it is possible. When I joined OYO, we were into two or three countries. In 6 months, we were into 80 countries. So how to take care of so many geography? When we came up with the first set of internal audit reports, by the time a lot of processes had changed. So rethink about the things. What we are suggesting were based on the 6 months old process. Data had become irrelevant. Maybe probably by the time you come up with your analysis and audit report, a lot of water has flown. So that is how the need for data analytics and it become very essential part of our life for internal auditor. What is happening if you see the first here, adoption of new age technology like AI, ML, and RPA. Business themselves, they are using a lot of technology. You see a lot of new age companies coming up, startup, old companies are changing the way they have been working. They are extensively using AI, ML, RPA in their process. So if they are talking about technology and you are talking about old style of, report and manual work, and you of course you look outdated here. Lot of reliance on the automated controls. The companies are building automated controls, SAP, Oracle, lot of portals, everything are integrated now. So use of and you need a better control, right, for cyber, for everything, for workflow. So a lot of automated control are getting developed by the business. So you need to do your audit within that environment itself. So your entire ecosystem of audit has changed. It's not, it has got more importance post COVID. Thankfully, we were thinking and we had started working on technology before COVID. So I didn't have to much struggle during the COVID period. I'll tell you how. As I said, managing geographical and growth challenge. If you take our example, in 6 months, we grew into 80 countries, right? We acquired big leisure group in Europe and many countries. We were into US, LATAM, everywhere, China, India. And I can't have 80 people into working into 80 countries. At least even if I go for one head of audit for each, or probably the bigger location, maybe 50 internal auditor. So what we thought of setting up a center of excellence here, right? Uh, and it was not possible without the help of technology. Real-time insight, as I said, we generally, the normal time for internal audit, the traditional way is 2 months, right? Maybe 3 months. If you do it very efficiently, maybe month, because entire thing closure takes time. As I said, by the time the way business are changing, processes are changing, the risks are in fact changing. Your lot of data, your point, your recommendation becomes bit irrelevant after 3-4 months, and they will say, okay, boss, you should have told me earlier, and this is not my current process. So the need is to give them the real time insight, right? How we can help them with, you know, uh, with a real time insight, what has gone wrong. Probably, I mean, I'll give some example. The way we have worked uh, on some important risk and some important variation we have been reporting on a daily basis. It was automatically going to the dashboard of respective function. So the corrections were done on a D1 or probably D day basis. Um, we all have faced the situation where we say, okay, these are the representative example, and I mean everybody would have spoken about all these things, but yes, we all face these things. uh, People will talk about, okay, if you have gone through this particular month data, this is not the right data, you should have gone in much detail, etc., etc. So the need was how we can have larger sample or entire population being looked into, and the overall final conclusion comes, in terms of the final acceptance with a quantification. So that is where again the need for technology started coming, how it is possible to do 100% assurance. Even for auditor, optimized time is spent looking for information, both for business and auditor. If you are not part of technology, if you are not using data analytics or other means of technology for looking up the data, for research, for analysis, for data crunching, it is going to take a lot of time. The other point is fraudsters are now much smarter than the way they used to be. A lot of fraud happening with the help of technology. You need to detect in the same ecosystem. You need to have a preventive, detective, predictive, all kind of analysis and symptom being triggered with the help of technology itself. So the need for auditor is to work and to understand that entire ecosystem, to suggest the controls within the technology framework itself. Again, the pressure is always on the internal auditor to have a small team, probably do much more than what you are, in terms of uh, less outsourcing, smaller in-house team, etc., etc. And when you are into multi-geography, of course, I can't have so many people working all over the world. I will not have any control, right? What they are doing. Is it possible for me to take in reporting from 80 countries and looking at report, etc., etc.? So that is where we thought, okay, let's do something which will be helping me setting out of here and sort of create a dashboard and analysis, center of excellence here, and take care of country. Of course, it is risk based, and maybe some kind of analysis is not applicable to some countries, but overall the way it came up. I would say blurred line of defense nowadays when you go to the auditee with your problem and sitting and telling them, okay, this is the problem. I'm a third line of defense. My job is to tell you the problem and suggest you. They are not expecting now. They want you to partner with them. Tell them what is the problem, work with them. So now I have started saying probably, uh, if I look at the new age technology company, where the younger people are around you, they are highly growth oriented, doesn't look at much on the control side in the beginning. You need to, teach them, make them aware about all these things. What I felt that probably third line of defense is kind of third line of separation. So that is where, uh, the role of auditor is changing, right? If you continue working like the way we have been working earlier, probably little bit from a distance, telling them the problem with some data representation, etc., etc., that is not going to work. They will not rely on you, they will not have a trust on you, and they will look you as a just a problem finder, not a solution oriented. So that's why I have started telling, okay, probably you need to match. Of course, you need to keep the independence. The responsibilities to implement the control still lies with the business and process owner, but there is more collaboration happening. These are the things I think we all face in our life, in our organization, and all these are, actually triggering to have a better technology use within internal audit function. And that is where technology and data analytics becomes an enabler for us. These are the emerging technology because business is using. We are not using all these things right now for our audit purpose and data analytics. Cloud computing, machine learning, I'll not go into much detail. Robotics, process automation, artificial intelligence, blockchain, we all are hearing all these things from last couple of years. The company, the business function, they have started working on a lot of these things. Very few auditors are actually have started working on these areas, but I think this is the reality which is, we all have to face. We all have to be equipped in all these areas, and this will become integral part of the way we do the internal audit. Is it going okay, Deepji?
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah. Uh, so data analytics, so when we did it in our company, we divided into three major bucketing: control and fraud analytics. Control KPI will help business to define exception rules at each process stage. I'll pick up simple examples here. Let's say control is that which is generally P2P. Let's say, for example, PO without PR or invoice without PO. So these are all the control related analytics. You can do, these are the example of, where you can create uh, anything relating to fraud, vendor payment, excess duplicate payment, all these will get classified under the control and fraud analytics. So here exception would be based on defined preventive measures, right? The next is process analytics, where the KPI has been defined. Let's say, for example, refund must go to the customer in 24 hours, or let's say peer to peer should get converted into 2 days. So these are all process KPI, right? That also you can help them. Okay, where the process is breaking, where it is taking time. Can we bring more efficiencies? All these analysis is going to help. The process KPI analysis will help business know what is which is triggering delay, or where they need to bring more efficiency, where they need to curtail the process, or bring more efficiency. So process analytics will more talk about the process optimization at the end, and overall process improvement. There is a performance analytics. Generally, we auditor do fraud analytics, control analytics, sometimes process analytics. But the now time has come where we should help business also in their performance analytics. They have their own matrices, right? They do their own. But if you bring your audit element into the performance analytics, that is really going to make a difference. Business, they are measuring their performance. Let's say, if I take our example, something like unhappy customer should not be more than, let's say, 5%. I can analyze, through the data, which location, which property, is it belonging to particular segment, cluster, etc., etc. You go deeper, deeper, deeper. I'm sure they will also have, but you can at least give them a visualization. Okay, you need to focus on a daily cluster, for example, or within Delhi also there are four different hubs or segment. The problem is with this particular segment, so you can go deeper, you can pinpoint. These are, you can prioritize where they need to first focus. Okay, so this is how analytics is an advantage for internal audit. uh, at the from planning to reporting, it helps us in risk profiling. First, you need to identify what are the risks. I mean, risk prioritization, maybe it can be a process risk, control risk, fraud risk, business risk. You need to profile it and then uh, do the testing, right? Because when you do data analytics, and we all know, right, there are lot of false positive, etc., etc. So you need to do the lot of testing simulation at the beginning, statistical sampling being used. Then that helps us in continuous control monitoring. Another point is what I was talking some time back, that business need insight on real-time basis. They don't want to wait for 3 months. They need probably to correct the things on D+1. So all these are going to help you in a continuous control monitoring for your top risk. You can define, okay, these are the 20 things I want to monitor on daily basis. These are the 10 things I want to monitor weekly or probably monthly. So you can define when you do the risk profiling. Of course, pick up your fraud indicators, and I'll talk how we are actually managing potential fraud indicators with the help of data analytics. I'll not spend much time. We all understand this: predictive risk identification, control simulation, risk quantification. You can actually come out with, okay, entire exceptions subject to, of course, validation, and with a number attached to it. Then that gives more value to the business. They would be much better position to appreciate your findings. Your recommendation will be backed with the data, with the number, etc. Of course, these are real-time management of a risk, and that is what the audit going towards. Uh, Work with a line of defense 1, 2 on a real-time exception management. Slowly, people will not look your 20-page report. They're still not. The span of attention has gone down, right? People don't have time. But if you give them a story, if you tell them with a number data, which with dashboard, and tell them the problem, they will understand it much better. I will show you some examples. Again, here I'm talking if effective adoption of internal audit with the data analytics. This is what traditionally we used to do. Audit scope, develop enhanced audit scope, RCM, etc. Fieldwork used to start, and we have been testing key indicators, hypothesis, and then results were getting published. Now, what is happening in data analytics regime, right? Where how if it is integrated, you start working on potential analytics here itself. When you define your scope, you start looking at what I need to put, my focus on analytics. What are the area? What are the key risks? What is business objective, and what are the risks associated with that objective, right? So that is where your thinking will start. So it's a very early, while defining a scope, you start parallelly thinking about the potential analytics which you want to develop. Extract and transform data, analyze the data. A lot of when you actually come up with, and when you are giving support to business on a real-time basis, you actually need to do a lot of testing, sampling, pilot, and you should actually come out with the right logic, right exceptions, right way of communicating the information, the way business would like to look at it in terms of their way of understanding. So you need to do a lot of brainstorming, and I'll give you again example in later slides. uh, Data analytics can be of two way, right? One, it is helping me in my captive consumption for my internal audit, the area which I am auditing. It is helping me with better report, more insight, larger sample, etc., etc. But when you are making it a exception management on a real time basis, there you are actually helping business on a day to day basis. There, so what has happened when we started in the first 6 months, maybe 2.5 years back, uh, we started with our own set of analysis. We have been using it. Then business started liking. Then we became service provider for a lot of functions. They started appreciating it, and they also came up with their own set of requirement. Okay, can you do this? Can you do this kind of analysis? This is really helpful, etc., etc. So a lot of collaboration, trust building started happening. Maybe 4 years back, or 5 years back, I was at this stage. This is the maturity assessment. No idea, just hearing about data analytics. When I was in consulting with KPMG, I started becoming aware, some skill set. Okay, I gave you for example, right? A lot of uh, uh, when I did one audit for one of the company, retail company, it was all about uh, what kind of discount, which product, digital, is it TV, is it mobile? So a lot of analysis was done by me in the that point of time. I wanted to tell them, okay, you are losing your money in Samsung, for example, in 32-inch TV in Punjab location, for example. So for doing that, okay, here you have lost this much money on this kind of discount in this kind of mobile set in this top 50 stores, right? So all those thoughts started that point of time, which was like taking help from a data, giving, making, enhancing our internal audit report, better conversation. And that is the way, I started liking data, and then realized, okay, this is very insightful, very helpful. I was able to pinpoint very specific product, city, etc., etc., whatever level it was. Data analytics defined understanding within internal audit team and the organization as to the value use of data analytics. So in 2019, if I talk about my current company, I had 5 data scientists in my team out of 25. So this shows the kind of importance I gave to data analytics 3 years back. We still have, and that is where we build strong foundation that point of time. And those were not chartered accountants; those were data scientist, coder, etc., etc. I mean, their skill set. I'm not a coder. I know what I'm looking for, what kind of data I'm looking for, how it should look like, how it should get reported, what I want to tell to the management. But for helping me, I mean, people like Deepji, and there are, and we actually, hired people internally that point of time, and that is how this journey started. So you need to have a right skill set with you, whether in house or you acquire from expert outside, right? So that is very important. You need to tell the management. You can start with some small work, tell them. If they like it, ask for a budget, ask for team, ask for help from outside. That is very important. But you need to show value in the beginning, right? That this is the way we started. Data analytics managed, probably we are here as of now, organization wide approach to use of data. So business, they are doing a lot of, we have number of data scientists for the business, but they have their own way of looking at what information they're looking for. We as auditor, of course, we look for exceptions, gaps, etc., etc., and that is where we are plugging that piece to the overall ecosystem. Probably going forward, it will be highly predictive, right? Maybe today I'm telling them, okay, these are my bad debts, etc., etc. My endeavor is to tell them, okay, these are the hotels probably which has gone 80% uh, uh, recovery, not has happened. More and more probably uh, uh, pay at hotel is happening. What decision I need to take? Shall I put them back on prepaid, etc., etc.? Those kind of predictive analysis. Okay, this is something going may go wrong. So those kind of advancement and expectation coming up. I'll skip this slide so that I can spend more time on some real kind of analysis. This is talking about how ERP systems, you do data mining, etc. The I think there are a lot of people here who would understand and know much more than me. Probably robotics can bring entire data analytics, can simplify it, and can bring more efficiency, right? Which can directly read from your GRC and do the dashboarding. And that is what the future again is. And I'm sure internal auditor will start doing all these things. We are actually taking this path as of now and then converting to the dashboarding. Challenges, yes, lack of management, buy-in, and leadership to drive analytics within IA, because probably they think that they are equipped with that, and that is not the IA job. We need to tell them the right story by giving them examples, showing them how it is actually helping them. This is not for audit. Audit is actually giving service to you for your betterment, for your KPI, for your etc. So I mean, you need to create that kind of story, tell them few cases, have more conversation around that, tell them how world is changing. General lack of understanding of analytics, this is, and the lack of talent we have discussed just now. Data quality and availability, cost of data cleaning. Okay, so this is major challenge because the number of portals, number of system not probably integrated, and data cleaning is a big task. If it is not right set of data, you will come up with a different kind of observation which may not be the reality, and you'll fail it, right? So a lot of work and hard work goes into when you actually start working on data analytics. And see, data analytics is not end result, right? That's a mean, the way we, that is our tool, right? We want to look at certain thing, or probably we arrive at certain conclusion, and this is the mean to arrive at that conclusion. Business, you cannot tell them, okay, my logic is wrong and that's why so many exception has come up, right? You need to fix it before you go to the business with your analysis. So a lot of hard work required here, and connection of data, integrating various database from different application and software. Don't do big bang approach. Don't try to do so many things together. This will boomerang, right? You need to take steps. Start using for yourself first, and then start demonstrating to the others. You need to have a high collaboration with IT. So point is, you should not be, after their life. and you need to actually collaborate with them and work with them, take their buy-in. They will help you in data integration, and a lot of these things. Very important, lack of well-defined analytics objectives, which we picked up, process control, performance, sentiment analytics. There are many things going on, right? What do we want to do, right? For example, let's say if I talk about e-commerce industry, their problem is probably return, right? As an auditor, I'm sure they do a lot of such analysis. If I have to do right now, probably I'm just thinking, I mean, maybe I would do analysis of profiling of a customer, what kind of customer, which location, what time, is it around lunchtime, is it female, they are returning more, right? What age group of people are returning more, what is the timing? So I need to build, I mean, somebody who has done 5 returns in a month is expected to have another return, right? So those kind of help, those kind of insight will actually help business. Of course, last one, getting the right partner. uh, if you don't have a skill set, please acquire it from outside, take help. A lot of people are expert and now they are helping internal auditor to build this capability. So this is my way of managing risk through data analytics. In interest of time, probably I'll go quickly here. We have identified risk basis, types of risk, fraud reported on whistleblower platform, process review, internal audit, management insight. So these are the things which actually help me. And then my, of course, internal audit here means my audit objective, which can be individual audit. And these are the things which actually help me in looking at what I'm looking for, what kind of risk, what kind of fraud indicators I want to monitor. This is extraction of data. This is impact analysis, probability, vulnerability analysis, scoring, etc. We all do. But very important is here. This is my fraud risk governance framework, which I'm using right now. It is backed by, I'm just touching because the very important element is here, which I wanted to come back. You have policy, procedure, etc. We have preventive control, code of conduct, business process controls, training awareness, preventive IT control, right? How we are detecting through whistleblower, through internal audit, and through conflict of interest review. And the very important one is the risk monitoring through data analytics. The risk. Sorry. Okay, anyway, let it come. Some. Okay. So these are few examples. So this is disclaimer, which was flashed earlier. These are my personal opinion. This data may not be the right and actual data. These are just hypothesis for discussion purpose. What we did, these are again few example, high level example. We identified the risk, which we wanted to look at. So we went process by process, function by function. Finance risk probably equal to all company, technology risk probably similar to everyone. Human resource risk, all kind of duplicate payment of salary, etc., all applicable to everyone. Procurement, so in our case, procurement is like supply of hotel, onboarding of hotel, entities owned by employee, excessive favor to the hotel partner, payment against undelivered. So these are the this is the way we started. We identified the risk, which was applicable or were potential risk, identify based on audit, based on whistleblower, based on management insight, etc. And then we started developing data analytics around all these things. These are the few examples which I'll be talking in next 15 minutes. For example, the first one is I have hidden few numbers data here. Let's say one of the risks for us. So I'm not talking about procurement risk because generally that is applicable everywhere and everybody might be talking about those kind of PO, PR, invoice, duplicate payment, double payment, vendor concentration, payment concentration to particular vendor, single vendor, etc., etc. Let me give you different perspective, probably in our kind of industry, right? So one of the risk is like our business development manager, they get incentive for bringing supply. The chance that the risk is that they can bring same hotel twice on our platform, right? To get the incentive. Is it possible for me and go and verify 20,000 hotels in India? No. I need to zero down on my problem. So we started using data analytics here. So we started looking at, geotagging of the hotel. Somebody raised hands. Shall I answer right now?
Yeah, please, no problems at all. I think I can only, there is no provision for me to put on my video. I think Jairam will take care of it. No problems. Neeraj, you can continue.
Okay. So we developed data analytics here around, which was based on latitude and longitude, same longitude, latitude within 10 meters, maybe in 100 meters. Those become indicators for me for next kind of analysis and discussion. Okay, these are probably the potential problem. Another problem which is not mentioned here is, in a hotel industry, customer, when they go to the hotel owner may tell them, okay, why don't you cancel it? Probably if you have taken it for 3,000, we'll give you for 2,500 maybe. So what to do? So we started digital audit, right? Wherein we started looking at somebody had booked the hotel, no show, cancelled, but have used my Wi-Fi, right? Means he has actually availed the services. The probably second kind of analysis, and we started sending on a daily basis, right? A lot of these data. These were actually real-time feedback to them. We came up with analysis like customer booked, cancelled, but tagged through the travel agent, because somebody probably told them at the counter, maybe if you book it through us, it will cost little less and then I'll get incentive, maybe like those kind of analysis. Or reservation having short duration and check-in check-out. So revenue leakage, I used to do pre-COVID revenue assurance for maybe 10,000 hotels in India, right? That was probably one of the biggest, but I had maybe 25,000 hotel listed on my website. Is it again possible for me to do the revenue assurance and some surprise visit to all 25,000? No, I needed to bring it down to a right number and to focus on the probably problematic hotel, right? So we started doing a lot of analysis where walk-in customer has come down. Is it below 10%, 5% of our revenue? Is there quick check-in, check-out, etc.? So these are all indicators, right? They may not have been converted into actual fraud or etc. or leakages, but this is the way we started looking at, right? Guest not paid. I'll show you some example later on, how it. So these are the analysis which was happening with the help of data analytics tool. And then we used visualization tool, dashboarding tool like Tableau for reporting and presentation. These are some real example processing of refund without customer escalation, right? We all know banking, e-commerce, we all get a lot of requests for. Actually, I wanted to spend more time here, and you can understand how the real time D+1, D+2 would actually help them, right? These are the ID, or these are the customer who are refunded without any ticket raise, right? Refund more than the amount. There may have been, there are other controls to prevent these things, but because of any reason, because of any exception ID, whatever has gone wrong, right? These are the refund more than your booking amount. Sometimes we give complimentary stay to customer, refund against the complimentary, again a problem because he was staying on free because of certain discount or some other reason. So these are example where we develop a lot of data analytics. We all look at ID use, misuse, etc., etc. If we had any case, we started reporting on daily basis the exception. Somebody A is supposed to do only A or A plus B. If he has done C because of any reason, the lack in the process, of course, corrective actions used to happen, and this is how it works. So, okay, on daily basis, the exception to go. These are the exception ID which has been used. I think I discussed a lot of these things. Any hotels having high percentage processing of refunds against no show reservation appearing to be settled through a cash at hotel cancellation. These are few examples. A lot of thing has happened here. Cash collection beyond 2 lakh, high percentage of total reservation in single property, uh, uh, booking created by demand manager but unsettled by the guest, right? Something is going wrong. High percentage of you know reservation to a particular hotel on a particular day, or shift in reservation booking, etc. So I have not picked up here for discussion the traditional examples of P2P or O2C, etc. There are a lot of element here relating to O2C, but which is the idea to discuss all these things is how we can start thinking about, and these are just few representatives. I may not have come up because we actually have come up with 70 plus analytics. uh, Idea is to start thinking, how and what kind of analysis is required, how it is going to help you to report, how beneficial it would be to the business. Look at all these analysis and you'll find most of them were required on a daily basis, right? And that was the real help we have been giving to the business. And that is where they started coming up with their own requirement also. Similar thing, I started actually when I was in consulting, and had done a lot of such insightful analysis for many e-commerce company, mainly, or retail company that point of time. Very useful, mainly about logistic, return, sales, inventory, etc. We can have a lot of detailed discussion about any particular industry. I mean, many you would be. This is one of the example. This is just uh, out of that dashboard because I'm not showing you the live data here. This is just an example of uh, the point which I discussed, for example, and this is hypothetical data. 448 property, probably example, having a similar location, longitude, which is 1.65% of my live property, has potential exposure. This is all my cluster, sorry, city. Okay, this one is what? Probably Delhi, for example. You click here. Sorry, this is the different page because so this is the way we have been actually making this dashboard very informative for the company. Seems my page up is not working. Now understood. Okay, so this was the single slide, the dashboard going. Anyone in my absence also can actually double click on any of this number and can pinpoint where is the problem. He can quickly look for the big number. He can go for entire data. He can ask for the checking. I can go and ask, okay, somebody, okay, these are the 60 property where some problem is coming up.
Neeraj, just to ask you, what is the implication, consequence of a duplicate property and how it can get created in
No,
the
so
same
those are
latitude, in the same latitude, longitude? Yeah.
no, so that's why I'm saying we probably somebody can try to do that thing to get more incentive, right? Because they get incentive for bringing the hotel, or that's a business development department. I'm not saying I'm not discussing the consequences. Sorry,
Right.
consequences I'm discussing, but I don't want to get into the control. What went, what correction done. Maybe we had one or two cases. This is just hypothetical.
Agreed.
But this is important. How the entire problem can be told through a single dashboard, right?
Right.
Of course, when you click, you have complete detail, Excel file, etc., etc. This is one of the example of what travel agent commission. Which location, right? I can click. Okay, this is day to day. I can have analysis, right? City wise analysis. So I can focus. Okay, this particular city consistently growing by 5%, 10%. This is overall declining. They're all here on a click of button. If it is probably overall, I can click particular city, particular segment, etc., and I'll see my trend also, right? Then I would know what is going wrong. Do I need to look at, is it the normal business practice? Is it something? Then somebody, okay, let's say if I click Bangalore, I'm not clicking here because this is not linked right now. And for example, Bangalore is showing uptrend. If it goes to the business, they will see, okay, Bangalore probably we are doing more such kind of business right now for last 3-4 days because of some festive season there, right? They may not look at it, but this was very insightful and indicative for them. Okay, they also know it, but the way we actually depicted it. Okay, these are your top cities. Is Bangalore has any specific thing happening, or this is the normal one, right? So they can deep dive further. These are more their KPI related, right? This is again one of the sample output where we do have a room. Sometimes hotels block because of repairs. Maybe out of 20 room, one room is not working. This is something which we worked upon, the kind of room profiling, right, on a daily basis. Of course, that there was database source available, so you can look at, okay, these are the cities, these are the red, here the big one I need to focus, and lot of more analysis were built around that. This is my guest not pet scenario analysis, right? Which brand has problem today, which brand had more problem, more number, which city, which location, which agent, which demand manager. I can go, and these were all linked, right? And you can keep clicking and going to the specific problem, specific area, then you can pinpoint, you can call that person. So a lot of this such analysis around, there's regarding payment. This seems looking a bit complicated, but a lot of, on a double click, a lot of data, a lot of insight available. So I'm just trying to tell you uh, how analytics. So this story is about collaborating with business, managing exception on real time basis, making it highly. If I start writing big report, okay, Bangalore has these many problems, Chennai has this problem, probably Delhi, it will take few pages, right? And nobody will understand and conclude it. But through this analysis, they'll be able to appreciate, understand the problem, and can work together and can fix it quickly. That's the beauty of DA. That's the beauty of real-time DA. That's the beauty of collaboration with the business. And then you actually become a trusted answer. This is actually a winning formula, right? If you come up with this kind of solution for that, I'm sure a lot of you guys are actually maybe doing much more than what I'm telling you. But this is the way we actually did it. And look at, if I have to, this is again country-wise, I can see, okay, which country I need to focus. If based on this data, I can decide not to audit, let's say, revenue process for Brazil, because their number is not that great, or exception doesn't appear to be great, right? uh, Quickly, I try to summarize some of the way you can start. These are the generally P2P related. There are many more. I mean, we actually did 70 plus. And the other thing is, maybe something which we did 2 years back on a daily basis may not require today, because that has been perfectly corrected, right? So point is that what is relevant, relooking, recalibrating your thing, discussing with them, understanding the process, changing the business, changing the mindset, COVID period, non-COVID, etc., etc. What is relevant right now? So it has to be very dynamic, and very important is, probably if you see the kind of analysis which we tried to do, we're not like a, generally third line of defense would do. This is supposed to be done by the L1 or L2 maybe, but that helped actually. Ultimately, we all work for the same thing, same company, same objective. Probably we thought that thing, okay, these are the thing which is, plugging is very important and this will be helpful, and that is where uh, need started of looking at, and it put pressure on you also, right? If you have been supporting some or other way, let's say 2 years back, and if your data analytics is redundant today, may not be very relevant, some of them. So that is where you need to keep thinking, start brainstorming, link your audit, link your process, think about what is new required, right? These are I mean, generally P2P, the things which you can easily start, right? Relatively, people will understand it much faster than if you get into the more complicated and business oriented analytics. So start with your own forte, which is like your traditional audit with P2P, O2C, finance, etc., etc. I mean, if you want to win them, these are, I mean, I no need to read through, quickly just summarize before the call. uh, payment related, payment current different, split advance payment, frequent voided payment, payment to the high risk country, etc., conflict of interest, unexpected relationship, employee, vendor, PAN number matching, phone number matching, address matching, etc., etc. All these analysis can be done easily, and you can start with these kind of analytics to start with. I don't know if I have done justice because a lot more to talk about. Tried to summarize many things, keeping a lot of disclaimer in mind, etc., etc. I'm open for Q&A.
Yeah. Satish?
Yeah, Devji. Yeah, Devji.
Yes. So I think there
Hi,
was
Satish. Hi.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine, perfectly fine.
there was a point, though you talked about overall data analytics. Your point was to emphasize on the need for data analytics, but there is a question by Narendra Shah on, can you elaborate on point number 5 when you talked about the fraud risk indicators?
Right,
the
right.
13, 14 indicators which you had in that, the 5, fifth one regarding the refund processing.
So what, can he speak or he can just?
No, I think
Okay.
he
So
can
refund. Let's talk about any e-commerce, right? Or any company or banking company. A lot of refund happens. You can create n number of data analytics around refund, right? Which is like about the timeliness, who is supposed to do. I mean, these are the people who are supposed to do the refund. Is refund more than the product value? Is refund inclusive or exclusive of discount? Probably you sold at a discount particular price, but when you are refunding, the price has gone up, right, in the system itself. What promo applied earlier at the time of selling? What is when you are actually refunding, right? How you take care of refund in case of escalation. So you can build a lot of analysis around refund process. So that can be control, that can be performance also, the delays, timeliness, etc. We have seen cases in earlier days. Refund raised by A went to bank account of B. That was a fraud, right? So many such cases come up. You can do simple analysis. Refund raised by A or probably bought by A but paid to B, right? Why it happens? There are broken processes, right? Somebody calls, okay, this is my bank account, there is no due diligence, etc., etc. Very important, I think, and very relevant question. The refund itself can create 20 kind of analytics.
I think before Satish speaks about, I don't see any questions, but I think all of you are welcome to ask questions to Niraj. But I just one instance which cropped up in my mind was, when you're talking about the multiple hotels in the same latitude and longitude. I think one other analytics which was run by a particular friend of mine was, for a particular city, they tried to see, for each property tax, how many electricity connections you have.
Yeah,
And
right.
They were surprised to have, more than 2. And when they analyzed, they found that, if you have 2 meters, the electricity cost goes down because you have slab-wise cost, So
Right.
maybe one household owner has also become innovative to put 2 meters.
Right. A lot of people have done in Delhi to avoid that the 200 unit of free electricity. Yeah. People have done it then in their house also.
Right.
I think Kejriwal government needs to take help from all of us, doing DA around these things.
I don't see any questions, so I think I can. Satish, over to you, please.
Yeah, sure. I think I can take a few tips from Niraj to save my own costs. I mean, of course, legally. So thank you, Niraj. It's wonderful to share the platform with you. Child is the father of man, they say, and I'm not saying that I have of course grown old, so I'm not really saying I'm the father, but I'm really happy and very delighted to see how well you have kind of stitched up this very difficult topic to put it in 50 minutes. So it's I really like the way you've really gone about it, which you started by talking about why data analytics? Why do we require it? What is the emerging technologies? You of course didn't dive too deep into the emerging technologies, but how do you use these analytics, these new tools and new what can I say, new abbreviations, new words which are becoming important for our day-to-day work. I also like the challenges and the lessons that you have learned, and how do you manage risk, and of course the sample output analysis which you did at the end. You very rightly said that technology is future, and you struck it off and said present. And you also, while talking, said that it's not only present, it's just the near past as well. Last 2 3 years, things have happened which is requiring us to use technology. A few terms that I really like myself, particularly, which I will use there with your permission in my lectures as well, is the real-time insight. I think that was a very nice word. You also talked about your center of excellence, which I think has to be there in today's way in which businesses are being done. You also spoke about interface with the dashboard of the businesses, which I particularly liked, because that really shows how you can partner. When I say partner, partner is a very word which I use very carefully, because if you partner too much, there is a risk. If you partner too little, there is a bigger risk. So you need to have that sense of balance. Your control, fraud, process, performance analytics is something that I took away on a personal level. Your visualization and storyboard results is a much, much, much better way to communicate results rather than writing lengthy reports, which in today's times, I guess, does not have too much of value. I also like the way you went on your maturity curve from naive, aware, defined, managed to enabled. That was a wonderful slide. Your Big Bang approach, I think, was a very good lesson, which you can't do it all, as you very rightly said, and you said it in your very typical way. It is a recipe for failure. You can't do it all. So you need to get that right amount of proportion of what one can do. And so your last sample output analysis, of course, has been very, very good. Uh, so my choice of telling Dibji that Niraj should come and speak, I think, is vindicated well. And so thank you, Niraj, and all the best in all your endeavors for now and in future. And Dibji did not speak about Sama too much in the beginning today. I wonder why. I'll talk to him after this program. But Sama has been doing exemplary work. I'm of course having no stake in either Niraj, Oyo, or Sama. Let me say it up front. But just a beneficiary of so much good relationships that I have shared with Niraj on a personal level, and of course with Dibji for such a long time. But Dibji and his team, the entire team of Saurabh, Jairam, Manish, and the entire team of Sama has been doing very pioneering work on the data analytics, and they have now moved on to several other spheres as well, which I'm sure Dipchi keeps talking about. So I wish everyone all the best for this webinar. Thank you. A lot of in the attendees also, I saw a lot of familiar names. I couldn't see the faces, but I saw a lot of familiar names. Some of them from Oman as well, and that was a nice thing to see. So thank you very much, and Neeraj, on behalf of Sama and on behalf of me personally, thank you for taking out your time. And just as the Ganpati in the background, you were the Krishna of the Bhagavad Gita for us on analytics. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Satish, for your word of appreciation for me. It is always very helpful, and I always learn from you. I have learned. I have shared with you recently, kind of my learning, my first formal meeting with you when we worked together in Reliance. So I still remember, keep telling number of people, and that actually helped me. My deeper thinking and getting into the inside of the things actually started from there. Like don't go upright, go deeper.
Thank you very much, Niraj, and thank you very much, Satish, for the wonderful conclusion to this event, and to all the wonderful participants who joined in. Just a small announcement to those who have joined in that 26th January being a Republic Day, we will hold our next Analytics Wednesday session on 2nd February. So looking forward to all of you to join in. Thanks a lot, Niraj. Thanks a lot, Satish. And if any of you have any queries or questions, you may write into us or write into Niraj directly. And I think we will ensure that, we can answer them to you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Dipji. Bye.
Thank you.